Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today they let the dog out of jail. So we're going back to BeelStarmon, not Three Musketeers, just BeelStarmon. This is my EX7 version of the deck. So without further ado, for our eggs, we have 4 copies of the BT6 Tsunomon. When you trash a card in your hand using one of your effects, trigger draw 1. This whole deck, you're going to see our entire evolution line is Gabumon stuff. We're trashing, we're drawing. That's the theme. We're going to put options in the trash. We're going to play BeelStarmon for cheap, and we're going to make it a problem. So, 4 copies of Tsunomon to make sure our hand stays full. 1 copy of the Gabumon X-antibody from EX5. On play and when digivolving, you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with Garurumon or X-antibody in their names among them to the hand. The rest go bottom. If you added cards, you trash 1 card in your hand. That is actually not a downside for us. It is an upside because we can throw an extra option in the trash if we digivolve into this. The Inheritable says when this Digimon with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted in battle by returning 2 non-Digi-Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Prevent that deletion. This allows us to be really aggressive early as long as we get this Inheritable underneath our stack. We don't have to worry about this dying in battle if we do get this in our stack, and we get some pretty safe checks out of it. 4 copies of ST16 Gabumon. Start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory. There's no reason to complain about free memory. It's a great effect. And then the Inheritable says once per turn, draw 1, then trash 1 card. So we're going to cycle 1 free card off of this. And then ST6 Gabumon, he's free. He's no longer imprisoned. They decided this man committed no crimes, and now he's back to commit more crimes. So when attacking, not once per turn, you can trigger draw 1, then trash 1 card in your hand. So if we do successfully unsuspend and swing multiple checks, I believe the stack can either get 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, like when you get the God stack. You would be able to do this each time and effectively cycle like 6 cards, something like that. Not even counting the cards you get to draw and trash from digivolving up the line. If you get your X-antibody pieces, assuming everything went perfectly and you got the God stack, it is totally possible that you could be playing a BeelStarmon on your second turn, or I guess not your second turn, but after you achieve full stack status for like 4 memory, which is really good. So 4 copies of this card, mandatory. 1 copy of Garurumon X-antibody from EX5. When digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand. If Garurumon or X-antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, gain a memory. And then the Inheritable is the same as the Gabumon, so more battle protection. In a perfect world, this actually nets you a memory back when this goes on top of Garurumon. Otherwise, if we play this with the Proto form, this only costs 2 instead of 1, and then you get 1 back. So really, it's a 1-cost Evo. Really efficient card when you see it. 4 copies of the ST16 Garurumon. It has a security effect where you can play a Gabumon or a Tamer with Mat Ishida in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost. We will only be seeing the Gabumons. We do not have the Mat Ishida Tamers. We had to drop them to make space for other things. But when digivolving, we can draw 1, then trash 1 card in your hand. The Inheritable says when attacking, draw 1, then trash 1 as well. So this is likely going to cycle you 2 cards. 4 copies of the ST6 Garurumon. This man is also not once per turn when attacking, trigger draw 1, then trash 1 card. So if you pair this with the ST6 Gabumon and you have both in your stack with the Garuru X and all that nonsense, you're cycling a lot of cards. Like, a lot. More than you think. You pick a number, you think it's a lot. It's probably more than the number I picked, but it's like 10 cards or something. It's a lot of cards. Then we have 3 copies of WereGarurumon X-antibody from EX5. When digivolving, by trashing 2 cards in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if WereGarurumon or X-antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may return 1 Digimon card with Garurumon or X-antibody in its name from your trash to hand. The Inheritable says when attacking, if this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, by trashing 1 card in your hand, unsuspend. So this is another unsuspend Inheritable that's going to let you get some extra damage in. This does cost 1 to Evo on WereGar, but we're not super worried about that if we have the Proto form in hand. 4 copies of the ST16 WereGar. When attacking once per turn by trashing 1 card in your hand, you can unsuspend. So ideally, we're attacking with this, trashing a card, unsuspending, swinging again, and then going into the WereGar X, and then unsuspending, swinging with that, Evoing. You got your 3 checks, or in the next turn, you're going to be able to swing 2 checks with the WereGar X. The Inheritable says when attacking, you trash card in your hand to delete level 4 or lower. Great chump removal. Can get rid of some annoying bodies on the board. For our level 6s, 3 copies of the MetalGarurumon X-antibody. I know people don't particularly love this card, but what I love about this card is that it says blocker, which is awesome because we are going to abuse Shoto for blocker on our BeelStarmons, which means all of our level 6s are going to be nasty, annoying blockers. And it has when Digivolving, if MetalGarurumon or X-antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards until the end of your opponent's turn, all of their Digimon gain when attacking, lose 4 memory. So not only should you have too many blockers for your opponent to deal with, you're also going to say if you try and get through them, you're going to lose 4 memory when you attack. And then the when attacking says by returning 1 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of the deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as that card. In a perfect world, this is mostly going to hit level 5 or lowers, but you could, bottom deck a MetalGar X. You're probably not going to want to bottom deck your BeelStarmons because we do have a copy of Calling. You can recycle the BeelStarmons back to your hand and be using them again. So we're probably not removing level 6s with this. Then we have 4 copies of BeelStarmon. When playing this card from your hand, you reduce its play cost by 1 for each 3 Musketeers Digimon card and option card with a memory cost of 7 in your trash. On play, return 1 option card with a memory cost of 7 from your trash to the hand, then use 1 option card with a memory cost of 7 in your hand without paying its memory cost. I'll tell you right now, the number of options in this deck that have 7 memory is 8. So if you only have all of your options in the trash, you can play this for 4. If you have other copies of BeelStarmon in the trash, you can play this for, I suppose you could play 1 copy for 1 and then play BeelStar and then play 1 for 2 and then 1. But realistically, you're going to start playing this around the 6 to 5 memory mark. And you're not going to feel too bad about it because the Shoto is going to get this blocker after you play it. So one of the issues I used to have playing this deck is it felt a lot like you're trying to get to this point where you can play BeelStarmon, and then when you finally get there, you kind of struggle to close out because you've been dealt so much damage and you don't quite have the tools to stop yourself from dying. Somebody always finds a way to get that last damage in, and you lose. Now with this build, MetalGar is a great deterrent from your opponent swinging and attacking. It also puts great early damage down so that you can actually get your opponent close to dying before you start playing BeelStars. The when attacking deterrent is great, and now BeelStarmon is going to be played. It's going to activate your options, and then it's going to sit on the board as a blocker. And as long as the BeelStarmons are sitting on the board and the opponent does not deal with them, they're going to continue to be blockers on the board. So great system, I think. I cannot stress enough how broken Shoto is in this meta. It really just lets you do things with Digimon that they weren't meant to do, and it breathes a lot of life into these old cards. So 4 copies of BeelStar, that's enough of that tangent. 1 copy of Gewaltschwarmer. If you have a Digimon 3 Musketeers, you can use this option card without meeting color, so you can delete all Digimon with play cost 7 or less. Great card, trims the board. Not much to say there. 1 copy of 7th Lightning. It's going to let you trash a card to delete one of your opponent's level 4 and one of their level 6 Digimon. We're on 4 copies of Fly Bullet that lets you delete an opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness. This is going to grab back your BeelStars, which is why it's really important that you do have this in the deck. 4 copies of Wisdom. We need to find our pieces, get up into our stack. We have funny ratios in this deck, so I think the 4 Wisdoms are kind of mandatory. I've seen some people play this deck without trainings. I'm not so sold on it. I think being able to find all your pieces, especially in an X-antibody deck, where the more X-antibody pieces you see, the better you're doing. This is important so that you can actually do your Digivolution shenanigans out front and net all of your draw and discard triggers. 2 copies of Rivals Barrage. The reason we have this is because it deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level, so this can actually hit level 7 targets, where Fly Bullet can only hit 6s, 7th Lightning only hits 6s. So this is a good way for you to remove any level 7 Blast Aces on the board. 2 copies of X-antibody Proto form. I think this pairs best with WereGar X. Considering that our X-antibody pieces are restricted to 1, this is going to help you grab back at least one of them if it's in your stack and make sure that you can get that battle inheritable back on your next stack, which is why I kind of prefer this over the old X-antibody. It's also more memory efficient, obviously, and it's going to recover into your security when the Digimon with it dies. So it's going to help you last even longer, all things considered, with the blockers and the MetalGarurumon X effect. Running 2 feels a little bit lean, just like we only have 3 of the MetalGar X's. But if you've never played a BeelStarmon deck with the WereGar engine, I promise you cycle cards so fast. A lot of these ratios might seem funky, but you're just going to see pieces. You really just need to see the rookie and the champion, and you're going to start chugging. Like a god hand in this deck is just Gabumon plus training plus level 4. Start cycling cards and let it happen. And then lastly, we have 3 copies of the new Shoto. He's going to gain you memory, which is important because this is the trade-off here is we're no longer running any mats that would gain you memory, but this will still gain you memory. So that is nice in its own sense. And then by suspending it, you get Piercing Blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So you get the blockers out of the BeelStarmon. So that is how I am running old school BeelStarmon in EX7. Let me know if you guys are still playing this card in the comments down below. Let me know what you're doing with it, what your builds look like, if you're running any kind of different strategy. I feel like this, being able to reduce BeelStarmon's play cost and then give it blocker at the end of turn, just an extra kick in the nuts for whoever you're playing options against. But I'd love to hear what you guys are doing in the comments down below. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.